Kayak anglers of the internet, welcome back to the Advanced Kayak Angler podcast. Too many kayaks in there. I'm your host, Dan Perry, with my co-host, as always, Kurt Smits. What's up, dude?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, we were having a nice long chat there about the state of the kayak fishing. We'll have to do a show like that one time.
The State of the Union of kayak fishing.
Yeah,
that'd actually be pretty good if we get like a couple other of the right guys. That could be really good, man.
We'll do that once things slow down, like whatever the off season is towards the end of the year. We'll have to make that happen.
Yeah, that sounds like a good one. I like that
idea. Yeah, this week doing something different. Just we were talking about doing different kind of shows, and we thought maybe doing like a buyer's guide. Just we obviously have some sponsors that help us, and want to be able to share whether it's products that they make or just regular go-to products, brands that we're not sponsored by, whatever it is. So we just have a few different categories we're going to go over, and we both have 3 picks of things. I know for mine, it could be like, just if I could only choose 3 hard baits or 3 soft plastics, these are ones I would use. But yeah, just a bunch of different categories, but it should be fun. It's something that like Tactical Bassin does all the time, a buyer's guide. So yeah, I thought we'd do something like that, but kayak fishing.
Yeah, this will be great, man. I think this is gonna be a good one.
Yeah, so it should be something for everybody in here, new anglers, old heads like us, or yeah. So here we go. The first category we got, and here's all the categories. I'll go ahead and go down them: bait casting rods, bait casting reels, spinning rods, spinning reels, soft plastics, hard baits, line, kayak accessories, and safety equipment. So first we have bait casting rods. Start with you.
For me, it's pretty simple. I'm a St. Croix guy, and if I'm just looking to buy a rod and I want my go-to rod, St. Croix Legend X, medium heavy, fast, or heavy. Heavy's actually pretty good too. I mean, it's one of the two. I have a hard time picking between the two. The rod's super sensitive. It's super light, and it's about as durable as you can get and still have a light rod. You can only get so light before they just start kind of shattering on the kayak. They don't last as long. And that's just like the high end, right? That's like $400+ rod.
That's a blue one, right?
Green. It's like a kind of like a muted green, a real soft green.
Okay.
The blue one actually is like, not the blue one. You're thinking of like the Legend Tournament, which are the workhorses of the St. Croix. That's also, I had a hard time picking between the Legend X and Legend Tournaments because I use so many of the Legend Tournaments, but my favorite rod is the Legend X.
Gotcha.
But the middle rod I have for him is like an Avid. It's a $200, right around $200 rod. Still has tons of sensitivity. It's still pretty light. And it's not a bad price point. And then the final guy would be like the Bass X. That's right around $125. Now I got a caveat in here that we did, and this is out of our groupings though. So I'm taking this out of our groupings. Rod and reel combo. If you want the absolute best bang for your buck and you are new to kayak fishing, you need to look at Pflueger stuff. The Pflueger Tryon combo, where you get a rod and reel, you can get those for like $69. And that's actually a pretty decent rod. It's, for a new guy, it's a great rod. For a new person, it's amazing. Or the Presidential combo for $100. So you can't, for the deal, a rod and reel, you just can't beat that deal for them.
Yeah. I had that as one of my spinning reels, so get to that.
We haven't got that. Me too.
It's hard, man. The Pflueger President is like the standard, like starting out. If you want like a good, not great, but like spend a little bit of money, that like $70, $60, $50, whatever it is, your first spinning reel, that's a way to go, man.
And you really can't beat it. It's just not lightweight. That's the only downfall I can find with them. I mean, I everything else I like about them, and I've had some for 8 years, 9 years, and They still work great without like replacing bearings. I mean, just like grease them up. I clean them up every once in a while. I don't really treat them very good, honestly. It's great.
Yeah, I don't treat any of my gear nice. I'm so tough on everything. Oh, I've never washed my kayak one time. Oh, speaking of, I got a new kayak this week.
What'd you get?
I got a Jackson U pick. It's a I had a cruise. I got last year. I got this really good deal. I totally forgot about this on some in the winter. Some Jackson Cruise 12s. One of them, two of them. One for me and one for my wife. And I had another creek boat. I didn't like it. I got that Cruise 12, and my wife still has hers. But let me be honest, I'm fat. Like, you know, I'm 270 right now. I've lost a couple pounds, barely somehow, but yeah. So a Cruise 12 is a difficult boat for me to stay in. Like I went out kayaking with my wife and son, and I turtled that sumbitch. I was upside down and I was swimming, but after I did that, I'm like, I gotta get something a little bit more stable. So I got a U pick, but part of that is too because I want the open layout of so I could put my kid in the front. I could put the motor on the back. Jamie at the dugout, he put foot controlled steering on there. I've never had foot controlled steering before. So I'm super excited about that. But me and the kid can get in it and we can motor some places around here there and we can go wade fish then. It's definitely heavy for a creek boat, but for a fat guy, it's kind of like, you know, there are no light creek boats for a fat man, so you know, so it is what it is. But yeah, I get it had been demoed like a few times, so but it looks new. So it's one of those the tiger shark, the orange, black and white. But yeah, I'm excited about that. I
I
don't know
love
if I've got a Magellan kayak rack that I keep the creek boats in, like a 3 deal, because space in my garage is an issue, and but I think it might be too heavy for my rack, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. I'll figure that out. It's over on the kid's side, right? Kid's side of the garage. His little hockey rink on the other side of the garage right now. But yeah, Jackson U pick. So go check if you're looking for a kayak. Go check out the Dugout Bait and Tackle in Marietta, Georgia. They'll treat you good. My rod and reel line. If you ever want to talk about like we talk about sponsors sometimes. I don't keep a bunch of sponsors. I think I have 4, and I don't keep many. I just don't. It's usually not worth the hassle for them or for me most of the time. But I have been a fan of Falcon rods forever. I have emailed them some bitches. I don't know how many times. So if anybody knows anybody uh, at Falcon rods, you can tell them to holler at me because I love some Falcon rods. They don't sell them at the dugout. I've talked to them about carrying them before, so I get a discount with them. They don't carry them, but I love Falcon rods. I probably always will. I have some other rods, and they're great. Like I've got some I get the veteran discount with arc rods, and I've got some reinforcers, and those are super nice. And I just got St. Croix Triumph because I'm not Triumph, but a Victory. I wanted to try that out because it's super lightweight rod. I really like it. Um, so I've and some Daiwa, some evergreens. I've got some other stuff, but my favorite are Falcon rods. So Falcon, please holler at your boy. And I'm kind of weird where I like things to be organized in a way that they make like I'm really into organization, and they have 3 rod lines that I really like. And I like how they're spaced out in price, so they make a lot of sense to me. At the bottom, you have Lowrider, which they look really good. They're like a brown kind of tan with some the print. The Falcon is in gold, so it's kind of like kind of looks good and classic. That like really good old school looking rod, but they're $130. So I use those for the techniques like a swim jig. They have a swim jig rod, which is amazing. Actually had it sold, had a low rider swim jig rod, and their swim jig, they carry it across all the lines because I love swim jig. And they carry it across all the different lines, and that rod is just right for a swim jig, the Alabama Shake kind of deal. If you fish a swim jig like that, the Falcon rod swim jig rods are legit for that. But I had it, sold it because I'm going to upgrade it. I'm going to get something nicer, and I got nothing against them. I got a Cashin John Cruz swim jig rod. Great rod. I just had another Cashin jerkbait rod. That's great, but I didn't like the swim jig rod. It was not the right taper action, whatever, for the way I fish a swim jig. So I bought a used Kara. So right now I have like an old used Kara for my swim jig rod, which is good. But they have, to get to the point, low rider if you're looking for an inexpensive rod, or if you like expensive rods and you want a really great lightweight rod that doesn't break the bank for techniques that you don't have to spend all the money on. I use a low rider. Up from those are 130. Up from there for 200, you have the Falcon Expert, which they're really as good as you need. They are amazing rods, durable. I like everything about them, black and red. I like the colors to look right. I know it's maybe just a me thing. If the colors are all wrong, it weirds me out. Like I can't use fluorescent orange braid and all that. It looks so weird to me. It just throws me off. I've tried it. I didn't like it. And then if you want like a really nice rod for those few techniques that like jerk baits, or like if you have that technique that you really want to spend money on, or that's your specialty, you feel like that's one of your very best techniques, you can get a Cara, Cara, and those are 250. So 130 low rider, 200 experts, and then 254 Caras. Love some Falcon rods. And they have some lower stuff too. So if you want like a Jason Christie, they have an EXO. Those are like $100 rods you can get at Walmart. So you can go there too. Buku, that's another one of their lower ones. Yeah. Cool. That's it. Falcon.
Falcon it is, man.
Yeah, Falcon.
You want to talk about spinning rods next? Do you want to keep it in the rod lines?
Yeah, that
mine is simple because mine stay the same.
Yeah.
It's Legend X. It's because it's just the price points, you know. And actually, I take it back. I mean, I do prefer Legend X, but I use Legend tournaments a lot more, and it's just a more durable rod, and like you said, you know, like you were saying, the different rods were a little different, even though they were both swim jig rods. And there's something about throwing like swim baits, smaller swim baits, on the medium light Legend tournaments. It's just like whatever they did with that blank, man. It is just, and you go to set the hook, and every hook set is just so positive. And the sensitivity, like I swear I can feel the fish just like swimming up to the baits. So I'm just really sold on those for that.
Some of those rods with different lines, like I swear I've had like a Falcon Expert that's as good, if not better, than a Cara. And sometimes it's just like this cross section of, you know, rods, the blanks, the whatever it is. And it makes, like you're saying, it just makes like it's really a sweet spot in their lineup. And I'm sure every line of rods has those, but yeah, that really is a thing too. I really think that low rider swim jig rod, like I loved that rod so much. I wish I still had it, but because like one of those cross sections where it's just perfect, you know.
Yeah.
All right, go on to bait casting reels then.
Bait casting reels. You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I don't use a whole lot of inexpensive bait casting reels anymore, but a few years back, whenever I did, and I was just trying to get into it, I fished in college. I just needed more reels. Like I didn't have a lot of money, so $100 reels. I used the Pro Qualifiers with Bass Pro Shop. That was ones that I used for a long time. That was the older ones. I think they were a little bit better. But at Christmas, at Christmas time, you get 2 for $100, and they were. Oh yeah, I had a ton of those. But my favorite one was. And they lasted a long time. I wouldn't clean them for like 2 or 3 years, and just whenever they got old, I'd just throw them away, you know. Or I'd give them to a buddy. Here, man, you can. It wasn't worth cleaning them because they were 2 for $100.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so, but the other one I did really like at the time was the Lose LFS. And I saw them like now they have them on sale. They're like $80. And that was just a good quality reel. Kind of even for me, a little bit of a step up from the Pro Qualifier. It felt like they were a little bit better at the time. I haven't used them recently. I'm guessing they're still the same. But that to me is like that Pro Qualifier, the Lose LFS. That's where like really, I'm sure Daiwa makes one too, because I'm really a Daiwa guy. But there's a certain level to a lot of this gear where you go from the cheap stuff to like, okay, now you've got like the lowest level that you can get, and that Lose LFS for me was there where it was like, okay, I got a reel that's going to last more than it's going to cast and not bird nest every time. It's not going to break on me whenever I go out. I actually bought two old Daiwas. I forget what they were. This 12 years ago, and they lasted a month. It was like their lowest level one, and they were just crap. And that put me off Daiwa for a long time because I should have known their cheap stuff was going to suck, but it was really, really cheap. It was really bad. But that Lose LFS, that would be my lowest one. The reel that I use most of the time, I think they're $159 as a Daiwa Tatula. I use the 100 for most things, a 150 for braid techniques. The 150 has a little bit bigger handle. And really, to me, it's worth it. I know whenever you're just getting into it, it's so tough to do. It's so much to buy, so expensive. But whenever you get to that level of reel, you can clean it. You can have it fixed. You can get parts for it. If you're buying a Shimano, a Daiwa, one of these top net Lose, like a higher level brand, and not just some crapper, you're getting a reel that people have parts for it. They can fix it. So it's something, it may cost you money to have it fixed, to have it repaired, new bearings, whatever you're going to put in it. But it's more of a value deal. So you can keep it for a long time. So that's where like the Lose LFS is where you start to have a reel that just works. Daiwa Tatula for me is at 160 is reel that, and sometimes you can get them for a deal too, is where a quality reel that you can keep for a long time and have repaired. But I've got two Daiwa Zillions. I lost one over the side of the boat a while back. I think they're like $350.
That
I
hurts.
got them.
That hurts.
Yeah,
It hurts.
like last year I was with Bucks Island, and so they put me on the Daiwa VIP deal where like 6 reels or rods a year. I got them at like a cheaper rate, so I bought 2 of them, and I'm not on that program anymore. I wish I was. I'd buy some more. But the Daiwa Zillion, it is absolutely. I've had some good reels, some good Shimano's, but that Daiwa Zillion, it's got a clicker drag too. Oh, I love the clicker drag. That like it makes a sound whenever it goes out. I even talked to my reel repair guy about putting clickers in regular Tatulas. He's like, man, it's so expensive. You don't want to do that. It wouldn't be worth it. Yeah, Daiwa Zillion. The finish is non-durable. You're going to mess them up, but that is by far and away the best reel I've ever used. Like mind-blowing reel. So if you just want to splurge and buy like a for real bait caster, Daiwa Zillion, that's a bee's knees, man. How about you? What do you use?
I use a lot of Shimano Corrados.
Yeah.
Almost exclusively Shimano Corrados now. That's like the reel I found that was, how should I say, the best bang for the buck.
Yeah.
Now I really would like to have like a Metanium, Shimano Metanium, just to drop a bunch of weight, and have like one really super light rod set up for like jig fishing. Texas rig would be nice. But I'm with you. The Bass Pro Shops Corrado back in the day, man, $50. You couldn't beat it, man. The Bass Pro Shops by me they would stack them up in pallets out in the middle of the store, and they'd be like 8 feet high, and they would sell out in 2 hours, and they'd have that sale when they'd first open. People would just swarm in and grab them. I mean, and those were good reels, and you could clean them and get them working and keep them pretty good. They were just so doggone heavy, but that was like a really good reel. If someone's looking for just something solid that they can bang around, that's hard to beat. I mean, I wish I had a Shimano version for them because I like Shimano. I'm not sponsored by them. I just really like Shimano reels. But yeah. And the Corrados, I feel like for the money, that's like the first one where they're like light enough. They're durable. You can repair them easy. You can clean them easy. You can get parts for them easy. Yeah, I think that's a sweet spot for Shimano.
My buddy Chuck, he gets he gets used to the higher level Shimanos on eBay. The Japanese stuff, like they'll have a little bit different name, but you can get them for really cheap because their used stuff, they take such good care of it that it's like almost brand new. So you can get like the higher end Metanium kind of stuff for like $150 or like, like crazy good deals on eBay.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. He
I
uses.
need to pay attention.
Yeah, I'll get the link for you
because they also seem to like replace their reels like in their equipment like every year. Like I feel like they just like keep up to date so readily versus me where I'm like, oh, I got like 9 Corrados, so I'm not buying any reels for a while,
Yeah, and I think for most people, if you're listening to this and you're just looking for a quality reel, getting into either Shimano or Daiwa, it seems like that's where most people are at. Like once you start fishing for a long time, and you can like lose Cast King, baits. I've saw some at bait stuff. I know they're like they're CNC'd aluminum.
Oh, it's the CNC ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I haven't used one of those. I could see how that would be super stiff, durable. That sounds like a great reel. I've never used one. So baits would be one worth looking at, but most people who are really into fishing are Shimano Daiwa. Like you can have them fixed, get a deal every now and then. It's just they make the best reels. Let's be honest.
And if you're going to keep your stuff, like if you're someone who doesn't have to have what's new every year, it ends up saving you money, spending more and getting a nicer reel, keeping it for 3 or 4 years, and just cleaning it in that time frame. Man, that's basically all you got to do.
Like you'll see. I know, like Russ Snyder's. He uses old Quantums. Like whenever they used to be a better reel. A lot of his reels are just old Quantums that he's had forever that he just cleans and keeps up. Yeah, he doesn't. So I would just say, like, if you're just getting into reels, just if you can pay for something quality, that like 150, 160 mark, once you get up into that range, you're getting a quality reel that you can keep for a long time and fix. And then, like you said, it saves money in the long run.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it's, and I'm one of the guys who I just like to have the same thing for a while. I like to have the same feel in my hand. I like to know when I throw it, how much I have to thumb it, And I don't have a lot of different reels. I know some people will have different reels. They'll have like 3 or 4 different brands. I'm like all one brand when it comes to bait casters.
Yeah, I'm that way with reels too. I like my stuff exactly. So rods, I've had some other stuff trying different things, but the reels, yeah, I'm pretty particular about that. And some of those, like you were saying, some of the old Corrados, even the green ones from like 15, 20 years ago, people are still using a lot of that stuff that's kind of sought after. So
they have like a cult following for those.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys go kind of nuts about them because sometimes I'll be talking about Corrados and I'm like, oh, we're not talking about the same ones. We're talking about these older ones, man.
Yeah, old green.
They're getting real into it and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not that into them. I like them, but
Yeah. All right, so spinning reels. What you got?
Spinning reels. Okay, starting with the Fluger Presidential.
That's right.
It's a legend. It
Yeah.
is a legend. It can't be beat for the money. Even if you're just getting into the sport, $60, $70. Sometimes you can find them on sale for $45 around Christmas
Yeah.
time. I mean, gosh, that's a hard reel to beat for the money, and it's just such a good reel. I mean, I've had so many of them over the years. I got some, like I said before, I got some that are like ancient upstairs. It's just hard to beat. They're just a little heavy. I mean, that's the only thing I can say negative about them is that they're just a little heavy. Maybe the drag's a little light on the smaller ones, on like the 1500 size. Drag might be a little light compared to a Shimano, but I mean, again, you're talking under 60, $70, So it's really hard to beat that. And for the next one up from that would be like a Shimano Stratic, and it's right around $200. And now you're going to get into the range of a reel that you're going to want to keep, that you can keep and fix up. And it's just so smooth. Now, that's the thing I like with the Shimano's. When you get a new Shimano, man, it's just like butter. They got those little micro gears that they call micro gears. They just got those little tiny gears, and it's just so butter. I mean, I love going to. I just love going to stores and just like spinning new Shimano's things. They're just so smooth.
I got like a Stratic F. I think it's like a FJ. It was a silver one. They were having it on sale on Tackle Warehouse not too long. It was like $120.
Yeah,
I mean, just look for deals. Yeah,
and $120 isn't bad, right? I mean, I feel like anymore $120 isn't. It's not really that much money for them. And going up from there, my favorite, especially for like Ned techniques or really small jigs, is the Vanford. And the Shimano Vanford, and it has got a little bit higher gearing in it. So it's not something I use for like swim baits at all, because I'm using it picks up the line a little too quick for me. I'll end up swimming the swim bait too fast just because of how I reel. I'm so used to using a little bit slower reels, but I love it for Neds or anything I have to pick up, single hooks where I have to really pick up the line slack really quick. Perfect for that. Is it expensive? Yes. Is it super smooth? Yes. Is the drag super awesome? Yes. Is it super light? Yes. It's all of them. I mean, it's a really, really nice reel. But it's one of those things you kind of have to save up for. I have one of those in my arsenal, and I have it on one particular rod. That's my high-end rod. That's my light rod. That's the one I use for super small jigs and nets and stuff. How about you, man?
Yeah, my lowest one, like you said, the President, it's hard to beat. The one that I use all the time, they were the Daiwa Tatula LTs. They quit selling those, and now they have the Daiwa Tattoo MQLT, which the MQ just means monocoque. Like it has a sealed housing, like the body of it, the frame of it is made differently. That's what the MQ means. And some stuff like whenever you get into these types of reels, it seems a little bit intimidating where they'll have these acronyms and this technology, and you don't understand what it means. Like SV is a lighter spool, TW is the T-wing winding gear where the line goes out of it. So that, like Daiwa, it can be a little bit weird where it has all these little. LT just means lighter, tougher.
It's worth educating yourself and learning this stuff so you know what you're buying, because it is going to be intimidating if you don't understand what all these acronyms are. Because the fishing industry is full of them.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean,
like Shimano has what, MQL? Is that what it is? And that's like a lighter spool. So you're throwing like lighter baits with that. I had a 150 MQ. I think that was a great reel. It was just a Shimano Corrado. I guess is a Corrado 150 MLG that was a good reel. I sold it to my buddy whenever I got on Daiwa, and I should have kept it because it was a great reel. I just needed them to all be the same at that point. It's like, I got this one last Shimano. I need to do something with this. My buddy's like, yeah, I'll take it. Sounds good. But Daiwa the new Tatula LT MQ, great reel. I wouldn't use the old one. The old LT, if you can find it and it's cheaper, don't buy that one because it's got a reverse switch. Nobody does that anymore. Like Daiwa, it's good they finally got rid of it where you can just, you could do reverse yourself. That's like old man stuff. Nobody does that anymore. You don't do that, do you?
I don't even know why they have that on some reels, to
Yeah,
be
like
honest
where
with
you
you.
can
I've never
backspin a
understood.
reel.
Why
Yeah.
would you do that? I've
I don't
never
know.
understood that.
Yeah, not on a good reel that has good drag. There's
Yeah,
just
you just have the
loosen your
drag,
drag.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. But they finally took that off because I had a couple of those go out on me. And actually the Marks, my outdoor place here, they sent it to them, and then whenever they sent it back, they lost it, so they had to give me a new LTMQ for free. So it worked. I got a new reel out of it. Um, but yeah, that's a great reel. That's all I use. I don't go. That's a $200 reel. I don't go up any higher. Daiwa has the Sarte and they exist, and the drag is a little bit better, and they are much lighter, but that's really the only thing you're getting, for that much more money. And it just, to me, it isn't worth $500 or $800 to again exist. It might weigh like a paper clip. It might weigh absolutely nothing, but that $200 tattoo is good enough for me.
I feel like once you get up too much above or very much above the $200 level, you're really just paying for less weight.
Yeah.
You're not paying for any real appreciable performance difference. It's just all boils down to it's just a lighter frame and how they make it. Whether they use magnesium or aluminum or whatever materials they might use to lighten it up.
And a lot of that stuff, like we're so tough on our gear on in a kayak that you might have one or two setups like that, like my jerk bait that's rod that's sitting at the bottom of Logan Martin. Like that. Like you might have a couple of those high dollar setups, but for the most part, you just want like that good workhorse Corrado, Tatula, that good middle range stuff. $200 reel, $200 rod. So if you can put a $400 setup together, that's usually like good high quality tournament stuff.
I lost my mind one night and ordered a St. Croix Legend Extreme. I'm like, this is
Ooh.
going to be awesome. And it was. It was like so light, so crazy light. Carbon fiber eyelets on it,
Mm.
so sensitive and I put braid on it. Just amazing sensitivity. Man, did I break it. And then I broke the
Wow.
next one and I broke the next one. It just like the eyelet. It's just so temperamental. And
Yeah.
on a kayak, we are just, and I was trying to be nice to it. I was trying to be
Mm.
gentle with it and protect it and be nice, talk to it nice and everything. And it still broke.
Yeah.
So
The
there's just so much to
yeah.
like, you don't really need that $600 rod. As a matter of fact, that $600 rod is probably going to cost you more headaches and aggravation just because it's going to be too touchy.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Daiwa Tatula Elite rods. They have one with the carbon fiber guides. They're like $75 more. I'm so tough on my guides and going into my Hobie rod holders, my horizontal rod holders that yeah, I can't have like, I gotta be careful with my stuff because I'll break it. I'm
Yeah,
always bending back guides and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I almost feel like getting a rod that doesn't have the super touchy guides on it. There's something about getting one that has the steel guides. Sure, it's going to weigh just a little bit more,
Yeah.
but you're going to be able to bend them back. You're not going to, at least a couple times, right? Before
Yeah.
something bad happens.
I know for me, if I can find a rod that has double footed guides where they won't bend, like those are like the old Evergreen combat sticks were really good because they weren't the lightest, but they were really durable and really good rods. The new ones, I haven't bought any of the new ones because they're single footed guides, and the whole reason I liked them is because they were double footed. But especially for like braid techniques, I like that little bit more durable rod. Um, I don't know. Who knows
No,
what's
that's
right?
more durable. Oh, I'm with you, dude.
Yeah, yeah. All right, what do we got up next? Talk about rods, reels. How about soft plastics? What are your three soft plastics you chose?
Man, my three small soft plastics. would be number one would be the big TRD. It comes in a variety of colors, amazing amount of colors now. Z-Man's been very nice to produce that in. It is one of the most fish catching baits that I feel like ever existed. I feel like it imitates, if you Texas rig it or drop shot it, there's a million ways to rig it. It imitates a minnow so well. And it imitates a fat minnow that everything wants to eat a fat minnow, right? Who doesn't want to eat a fat minnow? If you're a bass and you're hungry, you want a fat minnow. That bait just rocks. It floats, so you can put it on any technique where you want it to float. It floats, so it's really neat. And I just can't say enough about it. I really can't. I could go on for hours and hours and talk about how to fish a Texas rig and how much I love that bait. But it is one of the best baits out there. I feel like it's a small bait. It's not a big bait. You'll catch big fish, but you're going to catch small fish. It's going to catch fish kind of anywhere you go.
I've never thrown the big one.
You've never thrown the big one?
No, I've always just thrown the little one for Neds and stuff.
Man, so everyone thinks I throw a Ned. Like, I get that a lot. They're like, oh, you just throw a TRD. I'm like, no, man. I rarely throw a Ned. I don't even really like throwing a Ned. It's not my. I do when I have to, but it's not my style. My style's Texas rig stuff, and it's not that I don't throw other stuff, because I throw a lot of other stuff, but I always have one of those tied on because I feel like no matter where you go, there's minnows. No matter where you're going to go, there's minnows. I don't care what lake you go to in the country, there's minnows. And if you put a deal on there, where in the country isn't there a minnow that has a green back and a white belly?
I love that color, man. I throw it in the bang stick.
Oh,
the deal is that's the color. And I even looked at buying the Brian Latimer shaking my head worms. They didn't make it in the deal. I'm like, you got the best color in soft plastic, one of the top 3 colors in soft plastics, and you didn't put it in that line. That's crazy.
That's insane.
I love that. The deal is great. It just catches fish.
It does. And it doesn't even matter what bait you get in. Crawl, creature bait, worm, the deal. That color is just, there's something about it. I've been playing with soft plastics. I've been trying to match the color, and it's actually a little hard because there's several hues that they put in there that change the color, and they have it just right. And then my second one would be the Z-Man Turbo Crawl. Again, small bait. Texas rig is how I like to throw it. Small jigs, I like to have it on. Another floating bait. And that bait, if you use a 3/0 light wire hook, will literally float up off the ground and completely float the hook in the water. Completely float it in the water. It's one of those baits that you can throw and let sit, which I kind of like to do sometimes. You get in those log jams, you get in those places where people fished ahead of you, high pressure lakes, man, that you throw it in there and you let it sit for a minute. And man, sometimes you'll start railing and be like, whoa, it's another one of the best baits I feel like out there. And the third bait, man, it's going to be a creature bait. This could be another Texas rig bait. It's going to be another Z-Man bait. I am not sponsored by Z-Man. I don't get a discount. I get no love from Z-Man at all, from them at all. But their stuff is awesome, man, and it's durable. That's the other thing I like about their baits is that you catch a fish, and I don't have to re-rig the whole thing. I just kind of pull it and get the hook hidden again and throw it right back out there. And you can catch a ton of fish off any of the Z-Man Elastomer products. And they all float for the most part. Your buddy, though, did show us that they don't all necessarily float out of the package.
Just a couple of janky ones in there.
Yeah. So as I'm talking about how much they float, to our listeners out there, you may want to take them and put them in a water bucket and see that they don't all float. And I was surprised to see that. I've been doing that to my own bait. So I am now removing all the non-floaters and bagging them separate.
What do you do with the non-floaters? Give them away?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess so, man. Because I don't want them. Because like everything about how I like to fish Z-Man products is all about the floating aspect.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to fish them on the bottom. I'm like, especially here in Ohio, a lot of our lakes have like they're silty bottoms. So you really want to be just over the bottom of that silt so the fish can kind of see it and kind of pick up on it. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I actually have like 3 bags in my garage right now. I got to do.
It's not like you can melt them down and do anything with them.
I tried melting them, and it did not. It was an absolute mess. Absolute mess. Did not go well. What's your 3 baits?
I'm on the X Zone stuff. I've been on their team for 3 years now, and it's same thing. Their stuff floats, and that's why I love it. I probably catch half my fish on a Senko. They have one called I carry the 5 and 6 inch. They call them the True Center Stick. If you're looking for
don't float, do they?
No, they don't. They're salted. If you're looking for a bait, you don't want to spend that Yamamoto money, $7 a pack. You can get these for, I think they're $4. And I promise you, I truly, truly believe this, or I wouldn't say it. I think they are as good, if not better, than any other one step down from Yamamoto Senko on the market. And you can get them, sometimes you can get them for cheaper on sale, and the colors are great. If they kick me off the team tomorrow, I'll never throw another Yamamoto. I'll be throwing these forever. It is what it is. I love them now. I catch half my fish on one of their True Center Sticks. I just do. I throw the hell out of it.
$4 a pack. That's a good deal, man.
Or cheaper. I think on their website they're like $3.50 a pack. But I mean, the color 309 is amazing in all their products. It's like a purple, gold, bluegill color, which absolutely catches fish in clear water. True Center Stick, 5 and 6 inch. That's a winner. The second one is I chose their Adrenaline Craw. To me, that's like their summer craw trailer. It swims. It's kind of like so many different brands have like a really strong kicking trailer, crawfish trailer, Adrenaline Craw. You can use it on a wobblehead, swim jigs, chatterbait. You can use it on anything, any kind of bait that moves. If you're looking for a moving craw trailer, it works great. Also great colors. And last is a swimmer. It's their version of a swim bait. They sell them in 3.5, 4, 4 3/4, 5 3/4. That's the mega swammer. They're just really good, durable swim baits that last long. They sell a 3-inch too. No, that's a Stealth Invader. They have a 3-inch Stealth Invader that's good on like Okashiras. But yeah, swammers, they have a bunch of different sizes, colors. If you're looking for like a non-Kitech, if you're looking to try something else besides Kitech, a swammer is a great way to go. All those are in my kayak today. Like I actually just got some new swim jigs, and I put the new 4 and 3/4 inch swammers on there, and they're nice. Looking to try that out very soon. I got some of that. I am sponsored by a jig company, but they're not these. They're the Core Tackle swim jigs. It's more like it's got the weight on the hook, so it's got a smaller head. The skirts look really good. Yeah, so the difference with it is the swim jigs, they fall horizontally rather than, since all the weight's not in the head and they don't fall head down, they kind of float down. And I thought that'd be good for like summer swim jig fishing, using with fluoroline and, more like a regular swim bait around covers, stuff like that. So that's why I got them. Going to try it out.
I like that.
Good looking baits. All right, what's up next?
Hard
Hard baits.
Hard baits.
What are your hard baits?
Well, I did three, and
It's
I use
tough.
them all, and it's kind of weird. I don't know why I use them all, but I do. So for like my high end hard baits, I like pH lure baits. I like pH lure
Good
baits,
stuff.
and I
Yeah.
like double A wholesale baits. And double A wholesale is a local guy who hand paints them, and he takes them to the shows. And they're a little expensive compared to like a Strike King, right, or something like that. But he puts really good hooks on them, really good split rings. Like, because when I buy a Strike King, I have to cut all that crap off and put all new stuff on because I hate not having good quality hooks, good quality split rings on my stuff. So for my top end stuff, it's like one of those two guys. And Gary at Double A Wholesales, man, he's a great dude. He does the local fishing shows. He sells online a little bit. And man, like his bluegills that he paints up, it's like a work of art. It is like a work of art. I almost hate fishing them. They look so good. They just look so good, and the colors look so good. Um, so those would be my high end, and we're talking like $15-16 for a crankbait, right? For either one of these companies, up to 20, kind of depending on what it is, right? So you're talking 15 to 20 bucks, which isn't inexpensive. You're going to cry a little bit if you lose one of these guys. You get lost and you snap the line, you're going to cry a little bit. But I feel like when you get with a smaller guy like Gary, who can paint you, like, because I've become friends with him, so now I can get custom stuff painted the colors I want, right? And we all know sometimes it's just something a little different, and his stuff's already a little different and how good it looks. But sometimes I want something just black. He'll just paint it up black for me, and he'll put a little special magic, so it's not just black. So it'd be neat looking. And I feel like sometimes we get caught up in the world of the internet, right? And
Yeah.
we're always looking online. He's not going to be one of those guys you just find randomly online. He is a super small business that you have to dig out and find or go to the fishing shows. And I feel like some people miss that, man. It's worth
Yeah.
going to your local fishing show or the one in the city next to you if you don't have a local one, and finding those guys, finding those really micro small businesses that these guys are making some amazing products. Like I said, because it sucks having like, and I go home and buy crankbaits. I usually buy like 5 or 6 at a time because I know what I want. It sucks changing all the hooks out.
It
It
does.
does, man. I don't want to do it. So
Hooks are expensive too.
yeah, and hooks are expensive. So
Yeah.
when I go to Gary or PH Lures and I buy stuff from those guys, it comes with the right hooks that are the right weight for the baits, because if you put a hook that's too heavy on, it's going to change the action of the bait, or too light, or a longer shank or shorter. I mean, there's just like, it's a rabbit hole that you'll never get out of if you go down it trying to figure it out yourself. So I don't even have to think about it, man. I can get them from those guys and either one of those companies. They have it dialed in perfect for the baits. For the middle of the road, Strike King. If you just want to go out and not think about it, and you're not super particular about the hooks that are on there, any of the Strike King lures for hard baits is pretty good stuff. I mean, I use their stuff. It's not necessarily the ones I go to first. It's sometimes it is though. Sometimes it is. It depends what it is. Like they're little jerk baits, little pencil baits, and for some reason I really like them. Red eye shads, lipless crankbaits, the red eye shads, unbeatable. I'm sorry. I know I'm going to get a bunch of hate for this, and I know I'm going to get some messages when this airs in a week. But the red eye shad, I mean, gosh, man, that lure, vertical jigging it, ripping it to over grass. I mean, you can just fish it so many different ways, and it excels at all of them. It's just, I don't know what they did to it or how they figured it out, but that one bait, if you want a lipless crankbait, is amazing. Now, when I get one, I change all the hooks out on them, the split rings on them. I can't stand the split rings or hooks that come with them. But that's like a middle of the road price point baits. Something that I also use still, I don't use all their stuff. Bass Pro hard baits.
Hmm.
They're actually really good for the money. That they're the cheapest of the bunch. They come with okay hooks. Most of them have good action. Some of them have great action. I've used some of the stuff that I've really liked over the years. They have some wake baits that I still use. I end up taking them to Gary and having him paint them. And their wake baits, I just feel like they got that crazy. They have a crazy wobble to them. They kind of drift when they wobble a little bit. Just really good baits for being cheap. I mean, what more can you say about them?
Yeah.
What are you using, man?
For my cheap one, I went with, I think it's Heddon, Heddon.
Yeah, yeah.
They say the spook. Like, I was thinking about this time of the year, what I'm throwing, and I if I'm going to have a walking bait, it's probably going to be I like a Super Spook Junior, specifically the one knocker. I just like a one knocker sound in a lot of my baits. I think it just sounds a little bit different than what a lot of people throw, especially in the winter too. I really like one knocker in the winter, but they're not very expensive baits. You change out the hooks and a spook. I mean, it's it's one of the best baits ever. It catches fish. Uh, my up from there, Spros. It seems like they used to not be too bad, but now they're getting more expensive. For years, all the baits, every single crankbait I threw was the Little John series, Blake.
Yeah.
Little John's the Fat John 60, Little John 50, uh, the MD, the DD. All I did was throw Spro Little John because it was like a whole complete line. And I like things that are very simple. I knew exactly what they were doing. Like, I don't need to carry a whole bunch of different baits normally of like one square bill. I'll carry one kind with a few different colors, and I'll be happy with that. Like, I'm really more so looking for like water column whenever I'm thinking crankbait. So, and the Spro Little John series covers like all the water columns, and a lot of their stuff is a little bit more. Our lakes here get so pressured that they're a little bit more. I'd say most of them are a little bit more on the finesse side, where they're a little bit more subtle, and I like that too in my crankbait. So, Spro Little John, and then the expensive stuff, Spro Vision. If you're going to buy a jerk bait, they're just the best. They are what they are. The hooks suck. Have to replace them all the time. I've lost me a bunch of fish, but they just get the most bites, and I'll keep spending money on them, unfortunately. In that Logan Martin event, the Bass Logan Martin or Hobie Logan Martin event this year, I think I lost 4, and
Oh,
it almost killed me.
oh,
It's like $100
oh,
on just jerk baits. Oh, it was so bad. Yeah,
oh.
but Mega Bass jerk baits they're amazing. So, like, if I'm going to spend any money on any hard bait, that's going to be the one I'm going to buy because I really think they're that much better. Although I don't try the other ones. I haven't tried the Shimano, the world class deal or whatever it is that has the moving thing inside of it. Um,
But
I've
why?
heard, huh?
Why throw the mega bass? Why would you want to throw? I mean,
Yeah,
you're talking jerk baits
yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
bass, right? I,
Yeah, I know Jackal. I think it's the rearranged. That's supposed to be good. There's supposed to be a bunch of good. The Spro Mix stick. I threw that back in the day. I just get bit on the vision, so that's what I throw. I throw it way. I depend on it. It has become, along with a wacky rig, a jerk bait has become like, peas and carrots. The two techniques I catch most fish on. That's them. So
jerk bait, one of the most underrated baits out there.
yeah, it's amazing.
Year round.
Yeah, all the time. Just move it slower whenever it gets cold. That's about it. Line. What do you have for line?
Line. So line I'm a little particular with my line, man. I really. So, and It's become like the Cigar Kazine. I like a lot.
What is it? I've never even heard of this.
The Cigar Kazine, it's Kanzeen, I think.
Oh, okay.
Kazin. I don't. I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce it. I think they stopped making it. I bought a bunch of it a while ago, and I think they stopped making it. It was an H strand, and something about how they wound it. It actually came out round instead of being like a braid. So, and you would cast it, and it would just cast a mile. And then I like the Berkeley fluorocarbon.
Really?
I do.
The Trilane?
The Trilene, man. I have tried a bunch of other ones, and I always come back to that one. It just seems to be, for me and how I fish, the most durable. The 17-pound is like the perfect stiffness for a Texas rig. Because I don't want a super soft line when I'm Texas rigging. I could go into that for an hour too, but and then if you step it down to like a 12-pound or a 10-pound, then it gets it's supple enough that you can go fish it in clear water places like St. Clair. So I'm so simple with it. I hate to use anything but those.
I think I got a bad spool back in the day, and I've never used it since. Like I don't know how many. One bad spool, and I broke off so many times. I'm like, this stuff is trash. I've never. I know people swear by it. I think I got one bad spool. I never tried it again.
I did get a bad spool that the Kazine stuff one time, and it was breaking left and right on me.
Yeah,
I never got a bad spool of the fluorocarbon, but I did get a bad spool of that one time. And I know it's mixed match companies, and so many people are like they stick with one company and they don't deviate. But for me, I mean, it's just I mix it up like that, and there's those are my two favorite. If you want to go like the cheap route, I feel like Bass Pro stuff.
Yeah.
If someone is like new into the sport and they don't want to spend that extra money on the higher end lines, the Bass Pro stuff is kind of hard to beat for the money. I mean, I feel like their 8-strand line is pretty good. Their fluorocarbon's pretty good. I can get away with that.
And if you buy a reel there, if you buy one of the Pro Qualifier reels from there, or a President, they'll spool it up for you. So make sure they put some free line on there for you too. You're just getting into it. I use Cigar. I mean, Cigar Smackdown braid. I've used that for a while. I've been using Cigar and Vizex line since I don't know 2012. I don't think I'll ever use anything else. And I've used they sell the Tatsu, the more expensive. I got a free spool one time and it was amazing, but I mean, knock on wood, I just don't break off. I don't have the hardest hook set either. I have to watch the gauge hooks that I use and stuff like that. I just don't have, I'm not like setting the hook on them, so I just don't ever break off. I have just like no issues with my line. It'd be hard to ever go to anything else. And mono, I used to use Stren. My dad worked at DuPont, so that's what I used. I had to use some not too long ago when I bought the Sunline one, and it was perfectly fine. I bought it for a topwater, for like a bigger topwater, and it was perfectly good. If I had to buy some more mono, that's why I'd probably get that Sunline one. But I'm sure there's other good ones out there too. Yeah, Cigar and Vizex, that's my jam.
It's there's a lot of good lines out there, and it's just really there's no like one right answer or wrong answer to this stuff. I don't feel like there's any really company making bad line that I can think of.
I bought some. I think it was a Daiwa Samurai not too long ago. I bought a spool of that. That was trash. I bought some Yozuri braid, I think. I didn't like that either. So maybe I bought the wrong ones. Maybe it was just different than what I'm used to, but I didn't like either one of those.
Were they breaking off, or was it just like how?
The Samurai Fluoro. I broke a bunch on it. I just
Gosh.
took it off the reel and said no. Because I loved Iowa stuff. Said, well, I'll try this. So, and yeah, it's a waste of a spool.
Yeah, you figured they'd be quality. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not. So,
Oh.
Daiwa reel's good. Daiwa line, don't do it. I think it was Daiwa. Daiwa Samurai. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Okay. Kayak accessories. What do you got for that? We got two more accessories and safety equipment.
Accessories is a hard one for a kayak to recommend because there's so many different things that you could say, right?
Yeah.
And looking at it from like maybe someone who's just coming into the sport or a little bit newer, the first thing I would say would be a crate. Something to put your stuff in, something that you can put your rods on that you'd have in the back of your kayak. And for me, I really like the Yak Attack Black Pack.
Yeah.
It's just a phenomenal crate. Now there's there's different crates you can get at from very inexpensive, like a milk crate for $5 up to the Black Pack. And maybe there's someone who makes one more inexpensive than Black Pack. I don't really know, but some type of crate, whatever it is, whether it's a milk crate with something strapped to it for your rods or the Black Pack, a crate would be a huge one.
That Yak Attack crate now, the newer one, where you could put all the different stuff on it, and so modular. It's got all these holes, and you can this little mini stack box on top. But it is really cool.
It really is. And the neat thing about it is they've now done that through their whole lineup of all their stuff. It all fits to that same grid. So you can put anything from their lineup onto the Black Pack, and it's all going to match up to the holes on their grid pattern to the pack. If no one's seen one, if you look at a Yak Attack Black Pack, it's got like little holes going across the grid on it, and that's where you're supposed to screw all these accessories into. And it's just awesome. I mean, you can get angled, you can angle your poles on it with the holders. It's just so amazingly adaptable. That's what sells it to me, is that you can have it your way. You can have it different than me. I can have it different than you. I can have 8 poles. You can have 3. You can put the double stack where the lid is also another box on top and have it even more gear in there if you want. It's just one of those adaptable products that I like. That's just become a standard to me for my stuff. As far as like another one would be getting some type of measuring board. And now we have 2, right, that we're allowed to use in tournaments, because the hog trough is no longer acceptable in any tournament that I know of. I'm maybe one out there someplace, but there's not one that I would participate in that would allow them. So you're either looking at Catch or Yak Attack. Those are the 2 measuring boards out there. I believe Yak Attack has been accepted for bass as well as KBF. I haven't heard from Hobie the leaderboard. And it's a really cool product because it's got like little sliders on the top. So you can put it to your last bass on there. So I need to get 16 or bigger, or I need to get a 14 or bigger. And it's a great way to keep track of that without having to look at your phone, because I don't know about you, but man, about noon hits, I mean, my brain is scrambled. I can't remember the last big bass I caught or which size I need to do for an upgrade. So it's nice just to have it on the board, so you don't have to like pull your phone out and look at your phone as you're looking at a fish on the board. And it's also got stuff for the IDs for each tournament, and enough to do like 3 or 4 different ones. So if you're in a monthly and then you're doing a 2-day and then a 1-day, you can have 3 different ones on there if you needed it. And it's a really wide board too. That's the other thing that I like about it. And I liked it about the catch boards. When the catch boards first came out, they were wider than the hog trough. This is wider than the catch board, which I like. It really makes it a lot easier putting the fish on there and getting a good picture with a really wide board. I have yet to actually have one in my hands, but I've looked at them extensively online since they've come out, and they float right from the get-go. They float. You don't have to do anything special to them. So you don't have to have another tether on your boat. They just come out of the package, float, and ready to go.
No dowel rods, and I remember putting all kind of stuff in an old hog trough, trying to get that dude to float. Yeah.
One of my best YouTube videos was of me making a hog trough float and putting a dowel rod in it. It was
Well,
like the two things. It was like a super short video, man. And it's got like 20,000 views on it. I'm like, why is everyone even to this day, when I like fire up my YouTube, it will, if I don't post new videos, it'll rise to the top of my videos that people are still looking at. I'm like, who is buying a
yeah.
fucking hog trough?
Man, we were doing it wrong though, because we were missing out on the flex and
Oh, so wrong. I know when people were asking me about that, when that first the incident came up, I was like, what are you talking about? Well, they don't, mine doesn't flex. What do you, and I wasn't even going through my mind like, oh yeah, I put a I put a dowel in the back. Because I'd put dowels in there. One, it makes them float. Two, they would stop. They
kept them
wouldn't
from
break.
breaking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
man. Because people
I
would
had one
complain about
break,
them
and that's why I
breaking.
did it.
Yeah, I'm like, you put those in there and a little bit of glue, man, they never broke. I'd have them
Yeah.
for 4 years. They would never break.
Yeah.
And then I heard you can flex them. I'm like, well there goes that idea.
Should just put foam in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. My three first, I started out with a crate too. I've had the Yak Gadget Low Pro XD crate for right 3 years now, and the thing I do really like the Yak Attack one. The only thing I like about mine more, both of them would be great, is mine is slanted. Like it's kind of on a 45, not 40, maybe like a 30. But it's on angles because I don't have the best back. So me trying to bend back there to get it, um, it makes it a little bit easier than having to go up into the box. But then it also doesn't have a locking top either. So if I turtled, it would be a problem. So I do like that about the Yak Attack one. Um, Boards, I kind of chose the same thing, but this is the Yak Gadget. They sell a I see a lot of people not have this. I'm like, man, it's such a good idea. The Yak Gadget bump board holder, it's $38 and it goes on my H rails and it's like two U looking deals, kind of like a U where I can set my board in it and it sits on the outside of my Hobie, on the outside of the H rail. So it's like making room storage where I didn't have it before. So I don't have to keep my board inside the kayak. That's really nice because you usually don't. And like with the H rail clamps it has, you can just bring it in. So if you want to paddle, you can. It's doesn't like stay there and get in the way. So it's nice. Um, yeah, I see a lot of people. I'm like, man, you could really use this. It's great. Um, and the last one for $18, the Never Lost Gear. They sell a toe tie toe / tie off rope. And it's $18. That's what I use to get my kayak on my trailer, or whenever I'm launching it, I tie it onto the bow, onto the handle on the bow and onto the trailer. And I unstrap it and bring it into the water. So and you can use it for a tow rope if you're wading around. So yeah, $18 that one's been really good. It's really well made. So the Never Lost toe / tie off rope. It's really good. And they make a bunch of different colors. So if you want to match your stuff, I just have black, but if you're into that, they sell a pink one. Safety equipment. What you got?
Safety
Last
equipment.
one.
Last one. So number one, PFD.
Yeah.
PFD. I am a big fan of the NRS PFDs. Their inflatable one's really nice. They're non-inflatable. I don't even know what they call it, to be honest with you. They're Chinook or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
It is a great PFD. It's got a high back so you can sit in your seat comfortably and not be sitting on half your PFD and half off of it.
My wife, she has a Chinook, and she really likes it too.
Yeah, and they're comfortable. They breathe fairly well for being a regular PFD. I personally prefer an inflatable just because it's hot out. I'm a big dude. It's a little more comfortable for me to put on an inflatable. But that'd be my number one safety thing.
Yeah.
Number two, and I think a lot of people overlook this, is a good knife. It's
Man,
really
we went right down the same route because I have I have Kokatat, my life jacket, because I've had a Chinook. I had the old one; it was really good. Right now, I have a Kokatat Leviathan, and I kind of seamed ripped the pocket, the two bottom pocket. Damn thing's got pockets everywhere. I didn't need. I really liked how it fit. It was really comfortable and nice. I got on sale, so it's kind of a little bit of a gay color, but that's okay. Um, sorry, sorry, gay people. Um, but it's got the two lower pockets. I think you can do like fly fishing stuff. I just took a little seam ripper and took those off, so it works good. I didn't need them. And then my knife, I chose an NRS Copilot knife, which is probably where you're going too. Yeah,
Yep, yep. You can't beat that knife. I mean, it's quick
yeah,
on, it's quick off, and it is super secure when it's on. I
yeah.
mean, you could take your life jacket off and shake it all around, and it won't come out. I mean, it's
I've I've had the same one since I started kayak fishing. Like I mean, as long as I've been kayak fishing, I've had the same knife, and it's sharp. I sharpened it up. It's good. I'm ready for any situation. You can't really. It's blunt, so you can't stab. So if you wanted to stab somebody, you couldn't do that. But
well, it's
if you
not a
cut,
defense. It's not for self defense.
oh,
You
okay.
know, let's say you
Well,
get
you're in
tangled up.
Ohio. I didn't know. You know,
Well, there's other things for self defense. There's other things for that.
we were talking about
But,
that last show.
yeah. Oh, good old Ohio, man. That's so funny. But it's not for self defense, and people don't realize that blunt nose is to keep you from stabbing yourself if you get caught up in a bunch of line or a bunch of
I
rope. So
didn't know
you
that.
can put it in and kind of dig up underneath there without stabbing yourself and get to the line and cut the line.
Oh,
And when the funny thing is when I first was told that, I was like, really? I don't know. And then the guy at the store, he got out some line. I wrapped it around my hand. I kind of played with it for a second. I'm like, no kidding, man. With
first
that
thing
blunt
you do is
nose,
go underneath it. Yeah.
yeah, it really does. It
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it like weaves right underneath it, and then it gets right into the serrations. You just turn that knife blade up, and it just popped all this heavy fishing line that I was looking, that he had out for me. And yeah, I mean, NRS, they whether you, they just really think about their stuff. Like when they
Yeah.
design something, it's not just a whimsical design or something off the top of their head. It's like they design something, someone's using it before they release it to make sure it works the way they think it does. I'm always just really impressed with their stuff. And again, I have nothing to do with NRS. I have no love from them whatsoever. No one there knows my name. I don't know anyone's name at
Well, they
NRS.
might know your name. They just,
Yeah, maybe.
yeah.
But no one's coming. You know what I mean? I'm not
Yeah.
getting any love from them. I just really like their products. I
Yeah.
like their wetsuits, their dry suits, their rain
Their
suits,
boots. Yeah. I've had
boots.
their boots for it. Yeah. They definitely make good quality stuff.
Yeah.
What's your last one?
Um.
I'll tell you my last one was because you got to have a light. I chose the VisiCarbon Pro, which right now I have the regular VisiCarbon, and the difference is the Pro, it breaks down.
Yeah.
I don't really need that because I just I put in the back of my truck. My seats come up in the back, so I don't need it. But I had before that I had the one that broke down. It was really nice. I had that thing forever till I finally broke it, and they sent me that one because they said I guess it has like a lifetime warranty of the
Yeah.
light, and the light broke, and and then I bought some parts for it, so now I have a backup that I can just tape it on there if I need to. But I carry a spare light. But yeah, they sent Yak Attack sent me a whole nother light. So
Their
yeah,
warranty is
great
is
company.
bar
Yeah,
none the best, man. It's like no
no
fault.
questions asked. Yep.
No. Hey, I had a problem. Oh, you did? Here are the parts on the way.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to hear what happened? No, not really.
Yeah.
They just get it out to you. They
Yeah.
do it right.
I was worried whenever Luther left the company. He started and like the company was so good. I was worried whenever he left, like the company would go downhill in customer service or products or whatever else. But they have been just steady. There is if you buy something from them, it's quality, it's going to last, and they absolutely stand behind it. Yeah, we're really fortunate to have a lot of good brands in our space, and Yak Gadget's one of them. Yak Attack is one of them. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yak
No,
Gadget too. John Thomas is a great guy, and I like Yak Gadget, but yeah, Yak Attack is they are, you know, it's hard to beat them.
Isn't Yak Gadgets around from my neck of the woods someplace?
Nashville.
Oh, Nashville. Okay.
Yeah.
I see him a lot. I see him at a lot of the shows.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
Nashville's not real far.
Yeah.
Know.
It's cool, like these companies like Luther and John with Yak Gadget, that they, it's just these guys that just started companies. Like, Luther, his story is with that light. He was like out fishing, he made one, and somebody said, "Hey man, what about that light? How do I get one of those? Where do you get it?" And he made it. He made one for his friend, then other people wanted it, and he started making it, and then Yak Attack. John with Yak Gadget, he was into kayak fishing, and then he knew how to do all the stuff and designing for CNC, and he just did it. And he just started a company and like, "Hey, what do you need?" "Okay, let me go make it." And then it just built and built and built, and both brands are, really cool American, like, small business success stories. I really like that too.
Yeah. The first accessory I bought from a kayak was the Yak Attack light,
Yeah.
literally from Luther's garage. It had some note in there saying, "You were buying a product from,
wow,
a garage." I forget what it said on there. It was, and I don't know. And at the time, I wasn't like thinking about the backstory of it. I was just like, I just wanted a light. You know what I mean? I was like, "Oh, American made light. Oh, that's awesome, man. It's reasonable price. Okay, I'll buy that." And then years later, you start hearing about the real story behind it and how he's grown from one product to another, and now it's just like, now they're a big business.
Yeah, they make stuff for boats and all kinds of stuff. I think whenever you still order something from Yak Attack, it still says "from Luther Ciphers" and the address.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I did. The last thing I bought from them. I'm not sure if it still does, but
Yeah, I haven't looked at my packages that closely.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We covered them. Whole bunch of categories. Our favorite stuff. Buyer's guide. I don't know if it's hard to say sometimes because I haven't used everything, so I can't say, "Oh, this is the best one of everything." But it's a one I try. All these things I've talked about, and you too, there are things that we trust and things that we use, and hopefully it helps you. And maybe it's some stuff you needed to buy something or buy a gift for somebody. This will help you out. So
and at the very least, you can feel really confident in any of our recommendations that it is stuff that we actually use. Just like you said, it's just
I think some of the stuff, like, you're on a couple teams, I'm on a couple, but all that stuff it doesn't matter. I would use it no matter what, like I said, with cement stuff. But I mean, we tell everybody which ones we're affiliated with and the other ones that we're not. So it's not like these companies are going to hear us and be like, "Man, here's $20. Great job. Appreciate you." So yeah. No, this is all stuff that we use. So hopefully everybody gets some use out of it. All right. That's it. Got anything else?
Nope. That's it.
Yeah. Happy 4th of July. Well, this will come out a week later. I hope you had a great 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody listening still has all their fingers. Yeah. All right. Y'all be safe. See you on the next one. Later.
See you guys.